Hi everyone. I think let's slowly go through an introduction that we can slowly start. If anyone else is joining, it will give them enough time to join us. This is Jolene from Eiffel Corp. I'm just introducing our host today, who is Guillaume, our Senior Application Specialist at Eiffel Corp. So the webinar we are presenting today is about Modo Campus or Modo Labs, with the one feature being Modo Campus. Basically, we're touching on how to use an application to, especially during this time, to connect a distributed campus, especially with students not all being on campus, some working remotely, some in residences, as well as staff members not all being in office. How do you use an application, and how can Modo help to connect and to communicate better with your students as well as staff members? I'm just quickly going to also just go through some house rules. Oh, sorry, my thing, there we go. Just going through some house rules, just to make it easier for us to hear each other. If you can just ensure that your mic is on mute throughout the meeting. And those who do join later, we normally just ask not to use video feed, just to make sure the bandwidth is not flooded. As well, if you have any questions in between, just take a moment to either raise your hand in the chat box or to type a message. We'll try and keep questions and answers at the end, so that we so that we get through the presentation first. But should there be an urgent question, you're welcome to type it in as well. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the session. And then obviously, of course, we will be recording the session, and we'll send it out to those who have registered after the session is completed during the rest of the week. So I think without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Guillaume Uys, who's going to be presenting for us. I just want to quickly stop sharing my screen. Guillaume, here you go.
Thank you so much, Jolene. Thanks very much for the introduction there. Welcome, everybody. For those of you who joined, really appreciate you guys taking the time and spending this hour of the afternoon with us, so I can show you Modo Labs and Modo Campus and explain to you what it all does. Right, so what I'm going to do is just first go through a brief PowerPoint. I don't really like PowerPoint presentations, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, just to give you an idea of what the software does, how it works, and how it can benefit you, especially during this time where we're in COVID-19 and everything's just been messed up and thrown around. People are working from home, you can't get back to the office, and I think we all realize that it's going to become what's called the new normal. Going forward, things are probably not going to be like they were before, which makes something like Modo so much more attractive, because it's an ideal way to keep in touch with your colleagues and your students, and also to ensure everybody's engaged. Right, so to give me a second, I just want to set up my screen here quickly, and then we can go from there. And please, guys, as we go along, any questions that you have, feel free to type it in the chat box. I'm sure Jolene will keep an eye on it and let me know, because the more questions you ask, the easier it is for me to shape the session so it's more beneficial to you guys. So I'm just going to share my screen here. So what we'll do is we'll first just go through the PowerPoint. I'm going to give you a nice background about what Modo is, what it does. Then I'm going to be very bold and brave and go into some live demonstrations to show you how easy it is to use the software. And after that, then we'll make some allowance for questions from your side. Great. Okay. So what is Modo Labs? What does it do? How does it function? And how can it help you? Modo Labs was started by a couple of guys out in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, out in the States, who identified that it would really be useful if they could have access to software or create software that can help them build a mobile app to keep in touch and to transfer information easily from the institution itself to the students. So it's app building software. Modo is not an app itself, although there are apps that you can download from the App Store called Modo Campus and Modo Workplace, which we're going to look at a bit later. It's software to help you build an app. Now, how does this relate to the traditional way of building an app. What did you need to do if you wanted to build an app in the past? Well, you'd have to approach a developer or a company of developers, explain to them what you want. They would then go and build the app using coding. Everybody knows all different kinds of coding. You get Java, C++, C#. Go and build this app for you, then show it to you, you then approve it, and then you'd have to go through the entire process of applying to the app stores for Apple or the Play Store for Google and having them host your app on the App Store or Play Store so that the users can download it from there. Very labor intensive, lots of hassle, and very expensive as well, because every time you want to change something on that app, you've got to approach the developers and they'll then first quote you on how much it's going to be to make the change. Then you got to pay it, and then they'll make the change for you. And oftentimes they don't actually get it right. They don't do it exactly like you want it to. Then you got to go back again and say, no, well, I didn't want it this color. I wanted it this color. Huge hassle. Modo Labs came in and made life easy for everybody and providing the software that you build the app with, which means that you can build the app with yourself. But now you might say, hey, hang on, G. And by the way, please call me G. Don't worry about Guillaume. That's way too long. Just call me G. Everybody knows me as G. Hang on, G. I don't know how to code. I've never done any Java course or C# or anything like that. You don't need to know how to code at all. It's a no coding platform, which means you can, with absolutely no experience, go in and build an app. And case in point, and I'm going to refer to this quite a lot as well during today's session, I don't have any coding training or experience or anything like that at all. I'm just a normal computer user. I know how to use Outlook and Excel and PowerPoint and things like that. I built an app for the University of Pretoria for 30,000 students across 7 campuses with 5 personas, all by myself, with absolutely no coding experience. And I did this just by using the Modo Labs software. Not only that, I can also now go and I can change anything on that app at any time that I want to. All I need is just my laptop and an internet connection. I can change anything on that app and I can deploy it straight through to the App Store or Play Store. And it'll then be available on the app as well. And hopefully everything going well, I'll be able to show you that live today, how I actually do that and how easy it is. Right, so let me go through the PowerPoint with you to give you a bit more background info about what the software is and what it does. So what happens is you buy the software from us and there's 2 different versions that you can buy. First one is called Modo Campus, all right? And this is the one that'll be applicable to you guys because you guys are in the education game. Modo Campus is built for universities in mind, or with universities in mind. Very quickly and easy, as you see there, to create your college or university app. And the whole idea of having an app, a mobile app, is to engage your prospects, your staff, your students, your faculty. I don't even have to go into the detail of explaining to you guys how valuable this is in terms of the reach of people. Because why? Everybody these days has a smartphone. Most people has a smartphone. And the market is expected to grow exponentially in the next few years in the entire Africa region, with people acquiring smartphones and having access to the internet as well. So very, very easy to reach all your people like that. I mean, if you go to any restaurant or, well, you can't really go to restaurants these days, but in the days we will still be able to go to restaurants. Or if you just look in your living room, sometimes inevitably someone's sitting there glued to their phone. All right, we spend an incredible amount of time on our phones these days. Students no different. They're probably at the forefront of this whole thing, and that's why it's so easy just to communicate with them using a mobile app. So Modo Campus, specifically designed for higher education environments. I'm going to tell you more about that, what they've actually done to be more beneficial to higher education environments, what features on the app is there that's going to help you to easier engage with your staff. I mean, with your staff and your students. Okay, other thing that you can get, Modo Workplace. This is designed for corporate environments. All right, same kind of thing, build an app for a corporate environment. Let's look at the clients. As you see, I got on the University of Pretoria. That was our first main big client here in South Africa. And you'll notice some big names there as well. These are all clients of Modo. Harvard University, Stanford University, MIT, where the whole thing started off, Notre Dame, and UCLA. We're all familiar with that. In terms of Modo Workplace, the companies that use Modo Workplace, Ernst & Young, General Electric, Bose, Capital One, General Dynamics, Collins Aerospace, again, very, very big names, very reputable companies, and they rely on Modo to provide them with the app building software to enable them to communicate with their staff internally, and in some cases even with their clients as well. As we said, adoption rates in Africa, by 2025, there will be 623 million mobile phone, and that's smartphone users in the region. Okay, and of course, as we know, our internet connectivity is growing rapidly as well, which means that so many more people are getting connected. So how are we going to use our Modo app? What are we going to do with it? We're going to engage with our audience. We're going to communicate with them. We can analyze the usage on the app, and I'm going to show you that a bit later as well. And of course, personalize the whole experience for our institution. And in terms of relating to our audience, which is our staff and our students, personalize that whole experience for them to make it relevant. Because you don't just want like a vanilla thing, you want something built specifically for your institution, which your people can relate to. Now, earlier I said Modo Campus was built or designed to be specifically targeted for higher education institutions. So what they've done is they've gone and looked and said, what is the typical things, what are the typical things that's needed in a higher education environment? And if you look at the middle block there, you can see things like maps, how to get around campus, a directory. How do I get in touch with my lecturers? You need a directory for it. What happens in an emergency? All right, I'm standing on campus, something happened. How do I report it? Who do I get in touch with? News. What's happening around the campus, what's happening in the university. How do you engage people? How do you make them aware of events and things happening? Social, big one. I mean, everybody's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter these days. You need to incorporate that into the app as well. Facilities, and I'll demonstrate this to you live a bit later as well. I'm standing in a computer lab, or I'm standing in a venue, in an auditorium, the projector's not working. Who do I report this to? You use the app and you can quickly report it on the app. I'm walking down the road somewhere on campus and there's a water pipe that's burst. What do I do? Quickly take out my app, quickly report it. I'll show you how to do that. Your calendar, of course, everybody needs a calendar these days, whether you're a student or staff member or anyone, to know what's happening. The media, events, like I mentioned earlier, any events coming up, transit. When's the next bus going to be arriving for me to go wherever? Can I call an Uber? You can incorporate an Uber button on the app itself, so that your students just click on the button and they can call an Uber if they need. And how can I customize this thing? So those are all the what they call off-the-shelf or out-of-the-box modules that has been built into the software, so that you don't have to go and build this whole thing from scratch. They'll have a news module. All you need is to plug in your news feeds, your RSS feed into it, and it displays on the app. So it can be useful and versatile enough so that it displays properly on the app. You don't have to go and configure those kinds of things. Same with the maps, same with the news, same with the social, anything that you've got existing. If you look on the left-hand side column there, those are typically the stuff that you'll have. Blackboard, your learning management system. In the middle, there's Moodle, another one. Your Office 365, Sakai, another learning management system. Salesforce, that's more for your corporate environments. Big one at University of Pretoria is PeopleSoft. They run a PeopleSoft system. All the staff's information in terms of payslips and leave and everything else is on the PeopleSoft system. So what do? We just went and integrated the PeopleSoft system into the app, and there's virtually any existing system used in a university can be integrated onto the app. That over there is just a little selection of a few of them that you can see there. The next bus one you can see there, that's to do with transit. You incorporate that into the app and you can actually live track the buses and see exactly when the bus is going to be arriving at your next stop, for instance. Same with the Translock one there on the left-hand side. So you plug all this into your app, it displays on the app, and your users are immediately engaged. All right, and you can do this, of course, as I said earlier, on native iOS, so on your Apple devices, on your Android devices, and you can also even have it on your desktop as well. As you look there on the right-hand side, far right-hand side, multi-platform web, or native iOS apps or native Android apps. So whichever devices your students are using, they can access the app on there. Let's have a look at the next one. This is just going more into the out-of-the-box modules. So the things that have been set up already and that you can just plug information into. Now, here's what's quite important to remember about the Modo app. There isn't any information hosted on the app itself. And this is what makes building it so easy. You basically just set up the framework of the app, you make it look nice, you put in the pictures, put in the tiles and the links, and you just plug data sources into the app. So everything will point to existing sources that you have available. All right, so the app basically just points to it. It takes everything that's in the institution, and it just makes it available for you in one easy spot. And that's why you can build a usable app for your institution within a day. Because all you need to do is set up the app, set up the little tile blocks and everything, and initially you can start by just plugging it into URLs. And if you've got a website, and most institutions have a website, you can just plug the URLs of each web page into the relevant section, and you can within a day already have an app which you can make available to the students. All right. Of course, then it's going to be a pretty basic app, but it's going to be a working app, and the students can start drawing the benefit from that already. So based on that I said now, the first day of your app, as you see at the top there, shouldn't be its best day. All right. Initially, what you're going to start doing, if you look at the left-hand side and follow that line running up there, you're going to start by branding your app, having the content, having the identity. So you've purchased the software from us and you start building your app. You're going to make it pretty basic initially. You're going to have obviously the branding of the institution and the look and the feel you're going to get all sorted out. And of course, one of the first things you want to do is to engage on the collaboration. So you want to put useful things on the app that's going to engage the users of it and make them start to interact and see the value in the app itself. Then once you've done that, and you can see at the top there, this will take you a few days or a couple of weeks to do. Normally in the past, it would have taken you months. It's not going to take you months. It's going to take you a few days or a few weeks to get this set up. Once you've done that, then you maybe want to go in a bit more detail. And you just can see there in that list where it says expansion, you can put in single sign-on capabilities, and that's what we're doing currently for the University of Pretoria. Put in indoor maps, geofencing, which I'm going to show you later, that we've actually done with University of Pretoria from the very start. We geofenced the different campuses. Put in indoor maps, for instance, all that kind of thing. So then you're going to have a bit of a more sophisticated app. And it doesn't need to stop there. It can go on. You can draw in, as you can see there, the suggestions they make under advanced engagement, globalization, crowdsourcing, advanced workflows, predicted analytics. And you can also then upgrade to, for instance, the Communicate Premium module of Modo. Once you've upgraded to the Communicate Premium model, you can send individual messages to individual users on the app itself. So a specific student, you can mail them and say, excuse me, but sorry, your library book is outstanding, or whatever has to do with that single student. You can actually target a message to a specific single person. With the standard Communicate package, which you get part of this, which is part of the package when you purchase Modo, you can communicate with groups of people, and that could be people at a certain campus or one of the personas that you've set up. Now I'll talk about the personas a bit later and explain to you how all that fits together. So there we go. It doesn't have to stop there. You can make this app as sophisticated and as interesting and as amazing as you want. All right, nothing limits you. but you can do it a lot quicker than you would normally do if you had to go the traditional method of getting a developer or a company to build the app for you. All right, so there's another example just of the out-of-the-box modules that they've got there. If you look at the second one from the left, there's conference rooms, available conference rooms. Now, what they've done there is they've got obviously got software that manages the conference rooms. They've plugged the app into there, and now it just displays on the app. So I can either, on my fingertips, while I'm walking on the campus, quickly have a look and see which conference rooms are available, for instance, in that example over there. All right. Let me go to the next one. Now we get to the important stuff here. And this is the communicate. Now, currently with our COVID-19 situation, everybody's all over the show. And of course, it makes communication difficult because people aren't all together on the campus. So Modo has different types of communicate functionalities which you can make use of to engage with your students or your staff or anyone who has a stake in the university, any stakeholder. So earlier I mentioned about the personas. When you're going to be setting up your app, obviously you're going to build nice screens for it, but you want to target different types of people in your institution. So what are the different types of people that we have in an institution? Well, we've got students, of course, all right. Then we've got the staff members. We might have alumni as well, and maybe visitors, okay? And for instance, University of Pretoria has added another one, potential students. So, or prospective students, people who are looking to come and study. They might still be at school, but they're looking to come and study at our university. Now we can set up as many personas as we need basically. And the personas are great because now you're building each persona screen targeted for that specific group of persons. So a student persona will obviously have information pertaining to students. A staff persona will have everything to do with staff members, access to the PeopleSoft system, for instance, as well. So you're going to set up the different personas. Once you've done that, you can also, if needs be, set up different locations. All right, and you're going to group the personas under the locations. So again, University of Pretoria, a good example, they've got 7 campuses. So we built a location for each campus, and then we added the 5 personas that they have to each of those campuses, which means if we need to send a message to a group of people, we can send it, for instance, to everybody on the Hatfield campus if we wanted to. Or we could send it to only the students on the Hatfield campus and the staff members on the Mamelodi campus. You basically have unlimited options as to who you want to send a message to, and that's what we call a public channel. That's a public channel. It means everybody who's got the app on their devices and who are signed in as a student or a staff member, if you are sending a message only for students and a student has the app on their device, they're going to get that message. All right. So you can send a message out to everybody if you wanted to, every single person who's got the app on their devices, regardless if they're a student or a staff member or a visitor, or you can just send it to a specific group of people, either by location or by persona or both. All right, so that's your public channels. Then the other function, which is very useful, is setting up opt-in channels. Now, opt-in channel, again, you set up for a specific group of people, and it can be any group of people, any type of group. It can be new students, it can be the chess club, it can be a dance society, it can be a cultural group, it can be people studying engineering. Anything that defines a group of people, you can set up an opt-in channel for. And the idea is that the students will then decide if they want to opt into that channel or not. If they're going to opt into that channel, they're going to be receiving messages. So let's say student is part of the chess club. Goes onto the app, looks at the available opt-in channels. There's an opt-in channel for the chess club, and they decide to opt into that channel. They will, from that point of onwards, have access to all the messages that are sent out through the app for members of the chess club. So again, the possibilities here are endless. You can set up any number of opt-in channels and you can make it for specific groups of students or groups of people, regardless of what the nature of that group is or that interest is. You can set up an opt-in channel if you're having a conference, if there's an event, set up a specific channel just for that event. For instance, once the event's over, you just remove the channel. Again, huge capabilities of what you can do there. Now, the messages that you send can display on the user's device, as you can see there, either by push notifications. You can send it by email with a Communicate Premium package. With a standard one, you can do in-app banners, desktop alerts, SMS. Also, again, a future release that will be with Communicate Premium. But I'll practically show you how to send a message on this, and it's great because even if you're not on the app, and we all know how this works because we've got other apps as well. If someone sends a message, there's a little banner that pops up on your home screen and says you've got a message, and it'll explain what the message is about, for instance. So we're going to look a bit more at that because that's what's really useful now, especially in this COVID time, to engage the students as well and to send out targeted communication to specific groups of people. Now, what are we going to do is all this information, we're going to have a populated app. We're going to be sending messages. Ever so often, we are going to want to know who is using the app and which parts of it are they using. And Modo has full analytical capability on its platform as well. So you can go onto your Modo dashboard and you can look who's looking at what kind of devices are they using. And again, you can tailor this to anything. So what I do once a month for the University of Pretoria is I give them a full report on every single persona, and I tell them exactly how many people clicked on each specific tile on each persona screen. So they can see how many people, how many staff accessed the library services tile, how many students accessed whatever there is on the student's persona. And I'll show this to you a bit later as well. They can actually see the analytics exactly tile by tile. So you can then start to customize the thing and say, right, the students aren't very interested in this specific tile over here. Let's take it off, let's remove it, or let's move it down to the bottom. Or here's a tile that the students really are engaging with and they're clicking on it all the time. Let's move it to the top for them. So in that way, again, you are customizing the app for the students or for the staff or whichever users it is that you're looking at, and you're making it more useful for them to have that app on their device and to engage with you. Right, so that is pretty much it for my PowerPoint presentation. Glad that's over. There's my details. If you want to get hold of me, you're welcome to take down those details and get in touch anytime if you have any questions or anything like that. So what I do for IFL is I don't do any sales or anything like that. I pretty much take over once a client has purchased software, and some of you might know me from Turnitin because I do a lot of Turnitin adoption, implementation, and training, and then also with Modo. So I basically build a relationship with your client, and I'm there to help you every step of the way to implement the software into your institution and to make sure you get the most of it. Right, so I'm just going to stop my share here for a second. There we go. And just so I can change my screens. All right, so just give me a second here. Let me just get my screens changed and set up, and I can show you what's happening here. Right, so you might wonder what the actual platform looks like. And I'm going to show you that in less than 2 seconds. There we go. Right, this is what a Modo platform looks like. All right, might look a bit confusing, but everything will be a lot more clearer now. So here you'll see a button under Assemble. It says modules. So everything on Modo works in modules. Everything is worked up in a module. Module, module, module. So what you'll first do is you'll create a module for whatever it is that you want to add to the app. So I'll say new module, and then I'll choose exactly what type of module it'll be. And as you can see, there's a facilities module, a dining module, agenda, calendar, athletics, pretty much what we looked at the PowerPoint. And I can choose one of these preset modules and just plug in information to it. So if I choose a calendar module, all I do is just get a relevant calendar feed, plug it in, and the calendar will display on the app for us. The interesting one here is what's called a publish module. Now, a publish module is basically a clean slate. So you can build whatever you want or whatever you need on a publish module. Okay? So that gives you the freedom to customize, build it exactly the way you want it to look. Then we're going to use a publish module. You may have noticed there's a thing at the bottom here called an X module. So an X module is, again, it's a premium add-on to your existing Modo campus. And what this allows you is, if there's a certain type of functionality that you want, but there is no existing data source for it, you can go, and this is a nice thing to give as a project to students, maybe computer programming students. They can go in any language, any computer language, they can go and write certain code, and you can plug it into the app by using the X module. So you can create functionality that absolutely does not exist anywhere on Earth currently. You can have people, and as I said, it's a nice project to give to students to do, because that'll engage them. They can write the code for whatever functionality it is that you want to do and plug it into the app. So again, there you've got unlimited opportunity to create virtually anything that you can think of on X module and plug it into the app. For anything else, all the existing stuff that we're going to be currently doing, there is already an existing out-of-the-box module that we can just use. All right, so we'll create our, and I'm just going to go out here. We create our module, and once we've created our module, then we'll go in and we'll start to build our app. So I'll go to create, and I'll go to screen builder, and then I'll choose my screen. Now you can see I've built a whole bunch of screens here, every single one, one for each different location and each different persona. Here's a student one over there. So I'll go in there. And just give it a second to upload. Currently, I've got on this internet connection my laptop and my iPad and my phone running. So it sometimes uses a little bit of bandwidth. And then the server for this specific instance that I'm showing to you guys here is located in the States. Now, our normal servers that we use for our clients for when they purchase Modo is located in Ireland. So it's a lot quicker, but this one's in the States. So it takes a little bit longer just to display. And there we can see, there's my homepage for students. And what have I got on here? Higher health. This is now with the new COVID thing. You've got this higher health tile over there. If you click on that, it takes you through to a questionnaire which you need to complete before you're actually going to visit the campus. It also gives you more information about COVID, and there's even a WhatsApp number that you can click on, and then WhatsApp information if you need to. And there's some more COVID-19 information we put over there. And here is all the UP's tiles that we built for them specifically for students. So they've got the UP Connect there, the UP Way is one of the projects they're running there. Giving to UP, so making donations. Sport is a big one, especially for this university. So we had their tile look a bit different in terms of sport. Now, if I click on there, it'll take me through to the sport page, and there's all the different clubs and associations to do with the sport department or sport faculty. Winter and summer school, there you log in to the UP system there. So if you let me change this view to, I'm going to change it to an iPhone because there's other information that's hidden at the moment because it's just a general phone page that. So depending if I put in iPhone there or Android phone, it's going to show me the tiles that I put in there specifically for Android or for iPhone. All right. And the reason why I do that is because if you're accessing it through through iOS or through Apple, then the URLs you're going to use, for instance, to get to your Blackboard is going to be a bit different. So for your learning management system. So that's why I set up two separate ones. Over here, you can see there's a button that says click up, or click UP, click up, and that is the link to their learning management system, to Blackboard. So the student will just click on that button and then log into the Blackboard, and they've got access to the learning management system. And the same here with their timetable. They click on that, access the timetable, and it'll display their personal timetable to them. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys that as well. We've also got an events banner running over here that's plugged into an events feed, and I've set this up so that it actually rotates nice and fast. So let me see here. So if you can see here, I can access these tile blocks by using the side navigation over there. And I'm going to use this little block over here. And there's my, okay, it's set to slow at the moment. Now I can set this animation looping to fast, for instance. Save and preview it, and what will happen then is the banner will run nice and fast. So if we go down there, let's have a look. There we go. See, it's running a bit faster now than it did before. So that I can easily do. And from here on, I can just go publish it and deploy it, and it'll deploy straight out to the App Store and Play Store. It automatically updates on the user's device, and they will see that change within minutes. All right, that's how quick and easy it is to do this. And for anyone who's been involved in app development before will understand how extremely valuable it is to be able to just, at the click of a button, deploy out to the Play Store and App Store. Modo does all the back work for you. They submit your app initially to the App Store and Play Store. They make sure that it adheres to all the requirements from each one, and so your submission is successful. All right, so let's have some fun. What I'm going to do now, and I hope this works, forgive me if it doesn't, is I'm going to just park this over here for a second on one of my other screens, and I'm going to open this thing called a Power Mirror. And let's just open it up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror my phone to my laptop. There we go. There it is. And now so this is my phone screen that you guys are seeing now. Now you'll see at the bottom line there, I've got I've got a thing that says Modo Campus. All right, Modo Campus over there. If I click on it, this is actually the sandbox site that I've got for the University of Pretoria. All right, so I've logged in there, and this is a sandbox site, and the site I just showed you now, this is connected to this one over here. So this is not their live production site. To go to the live production site, what I need to do is go University of Pretoria over there, and this is their actual live production site that they've got. All right, and at the moment I'm set there on the alumni persona. So let's go have some fun. I'm going to go back to the sandbox over here, because here we can play and mess around and do whatever we want. So I'm on there, and we can just drag this back. I'm set on the new ideas persona. So the new ideas persona is what we use to create new ideas. Anything that we want to include on the app, we build on that little persona first. So let me show you how easy it is to change something on it. So I'm going to go to my new ideas persona over there. Okay. Give it a second. All right, so let's say I want to change this title that says UP Connect. I don't like that. I'm going to change it. I want to make it connect to UP. So I'm going to go to that relevant block over there. Click on the block, click on the title. I'm going to change it to connect to UP. All right, I'll save it. So now it's changed over there, as you can see. All right, then I'm going to publish it. And once you've, don't worry about all that over there. Once you've published it, then you need to deploy it. So we're going to go back to create, and we're going to say deploy. So we'll deploy to our test environment, and we'll deploy to the production environment as well. So deploy to test first. And this doesn't take too long. It's basically just running through. It's making sure at the same, what it does at the same time, which is very useful, is if you've made a bit of a mess. Now you can imagine that having a screen for each persona and the tiles on each screen is going to branch out to other screens if somewhere there's a break in a link. So if you have a persona set up and you've got a screen set up and the one is reliant on the other one, and you've maybe accidentally not included the link from the one screen to the other screen, this thing will tell you. It'll actually say to you that you've created a certain screen, you're referring to another screen, but this screen of yours that you created cannot find the other screen. It cannot see the other screen. So in a case like that, what one needs to do then is to just go and fix it, and it'll show you exactly where you need to fix it. It'll actually tell you exactly what to do. You go and you fix it, and then it'll work perfectly. So the system won't let you deploy something to your production environment if there's a mistake or a fault on it. It'll actually advise you of the fault, and it'll give you little ways of how to correct it, and give you different options of what you can do. Either delete the screen that you're referring from, or include a link from this screen to the other screen, for instance. It'll help you do that. So it'll never let you deploy something that will not work. All right, so let's have a look. Last deployed. Okay, so our deployment to production has been successful. So let me take this off again. And now what I'm going to do on my phone, now you can see it still says UP Connect over there. So what I'm going to do is just to drag down, just refresh my screen. So what you're seeing here is taken from my iPhone. And let's see how long it takes. And this is why I said earlier, I'm being very bold and brave, because it's usually in live demonstrations like this, when you're showing someone something, that stuff goes wrong. There we go. Well done, it worked. Okay, so we've got Connect to UP. So if you were to download this app from the App Store and open it up, it'll say Connect to UP. And that's how easy it is to change something on the app. All right, so now let me go and show you the communication side of things. So what I want to do, for instance, now is, let me go to my messages. So I click on the head icon at the top there, go to messages, and let's go and have a look at our available opt-in channels. So just give it a second there to update, because it's connecting to the States. Go to my opt-in channels. And here I've got an opt-in channel specifically for demonstration called opt-in development. You can see currently for this university, we've got the surveys opt-in channel there, because they do often do surveys. We've got one here called career services, which is also a new one we put in there. And below each one is a description of what the opt-in channel actually offers. So let's go to the opt-in channel there. And at the moment, I'm not opted into the channel, because it says opt out there. So what I'm going to do is just to opt in. Oops, clicked it again. Opt in, so my button is green. So now I'm opted into this channel. All right, that's great. So any messages coming to the opt-in development channel will now be displayed to me. So let's send one. So what we do is we go back and we go to our communicate section. Here's my public channels, which I can send. This is what I've set up already. So there's, for instance, an all persona channel. If I send a message on here, it'll go to all my personas, my students, my staff, visitors, alumni, and prospective students. Okay, so let me show you there. Create message, that's where you can go to. So here I can choose. It'll go to all the personas, but I can still choose exactly who I want to send this message to. So let's say I want to send it to the entire Hatfield campus. I want to send it to the staff on the Hillcrest campus and to the visitors of the Mamelodi campus, for instance. Now, this over here is not completely populated, as you'll see, because I've been playing around with it quite a bit. But you get the idea about how I can choose which groups of people to send a message to on a public channel, for instance. All right, so that's a public channel. I'm not going to actually do that now. So let's just cancel out of there. I'm interested in the opt-in channels. So here's my opt-in development channel that I set up earlier and which I opted into. So I'm going to go there, say create message, and put in a title, and let's call it Modo Webinar, like that. The body, I can type in all the information that needs to go in there. There's low limit to the amount of information you can put in there. So I can say this is a demo of an, channel message, like that, for instance. I'll then choose the category. In this case, it's going to be an informative message, so it's information message. I can also choose a warning or an alarm message, all right, if there's something important that's happened. And this is the beauty of it. Something happens on campus, some other hectic event, tragic event, or something serious happens on campus, you can immediately go into your Modo platform, go to communicate, and click alarm and send it out straight away. All right. Now, for our current situation where most people aren't on the campus, this is not really relevant. We'll most likely then just look at information messages, which we send to our people because they're safely at home. They're not on campus. All right. We can put in a link over here, and this is sort of a URL link. So I can say, click here for further information, and I can put a URL in there. I'm not actually going to do that now. I can also put a picture in here. So I can go browse for a picture, let's say there, and go survey, for instance. So I'm going to add a picture over here. And then what they want you to do is just to put a little title in there and say this is a nice picture. Obviously, normally you wouldn't put something like that in there. You'd put something that makes sense, but never mind. It's just a demo. Then I'm going to notify via push notification, and in that banner, all right, and let's make it on all pages. All right, and we're going to save the message. So let's just check that it's all 100%. There's a title, there's a body, information's everything there. Got the image, and it's going as a push notification, and in that banner on all pages, 100% is going to be. Now the starting time you can't set. It's going to be sent when you click send on the next page. You can set the end time though. So the end time is when the message is going to expire, when it's no longer relevant. With Communicate Premium, you can set a start time. So you can actually set up a message that's automatically going to send in future. This is Communicate Standard, so you can only set the end time. So we're going to say save over there. There's our message. All right. And then I'm just going to say send. Now, let's see if it sends to our device, because I see it says 0 subscribed iOS devices, which is a bit of a concern because I just signed into this thing. So let me go back to my app and see here. Here it is. And with a bit of luck, it should send through to this device if I did everything right, which I hope I did. Something wrong there. Hang on, connection failed. Let's just have a look here. Oh, my soul has completely kicked me out. That's not very nice of it. All right. So that didn't go to plan really. which is not surprising with live demos. I'm quickly going to see if I can just get it back up to do what it should do. In the meantime, please feel free to ask any questions. Jolene, I don't know if there's any questions in the chat thing. I haven't really been keeping an eye there. If you could just let me know. I'm just going to stop my share for a second here.
No, we don't have any typed questions. I wonder if there's anyone who would like to switch on their mic and ask a question if they have any. It's maybe a lot of information to take in, but any questions are welcome. If there's anything particular that you are wondering about on your side, go ahead and ask, and G will answer for you. I think you've explained it too well, G, or you've given a lot of information. We don't have any.
Well, they're completely confused.
Yeah, either of the two. Maybe I've got a question for you. I think so far of universities using it, what do you think has been the biggest advantage for them in terms of the features that Modo offers, as you know, the app that it actually offers to campus or to your university?
Well, definitely definitely I would say the communication and the engagement. So I'm still quite heavily involved with University of Pretoria and helping them with their app. So I sort of see the reviews that pop up on the app stores and play stores, and I see the questions that come through from the students, and they've really embraced it as a method of communication with the university itself. We've actually got a little section on the University of Pretoria app, which is for reporting any problems. But the idea is that it's reporting problems on the app. So it's something that we initiated when we released the app the first time, because we thought if there's a bug or something that doesn't work on the app, we need to know about it. So we put in this functionality, report a bug. And we probably should have been a bit more specific about what kind of bugs exactly, because it sort of very quickly turned into a method of students reporting to us that they haven't received a certain textbook, or they can't get into a certain website, which has got nothing to do with the app, which is to do with the functionalities inside the university. But it was amazing how the students embraced this as a way to communicate this through to us, because they've got a mobile device. It's with them all the time. Something goes wrong and they've got the app open. They've obviously been navigating through the app and saw this report a bug, and they're like, oh, I've got a problem with a certain thing. Let me just report it here. So some of it was quite funny that came through, because nothing had, it wasn't stuff, it didn't have anything to do with the app itself. But it really was awesome to see that we could use that as a very, very effective channel for students to very easily report issues to us that they're experiencing. And in the event, and the problem with that setup, with that specific one, was it's sort of a one-way communication. So it was designed so that you can report something on the app not working, and then it sort of morphed into this way of them telling us about other things. But we don't know who's sending it, because at that stage we don't have any single sign-on or anything like that, so we don't know who's sending the message. Some of the students actually, fortunately, preemptively put in their student numbers or their email addresses, which then made it easy for us actually to get back to them and say, okay, well, this is what you need to do. It's actually got nothing to do with the app, but let's help you anyway. Or I just referred it to the IT help department of the university itself. So that was one big thing. And at the moment, we never really advertise the app, because there's so much that we want to do with it still, that we've been very low key on the app advertising or anything like that. But already, just without doing any advertising or anything like that, we've already got 15,000 downloads on the University of Pretoria app.
I think that's the reality of it, is as you say. I mean, we've got a very high percentage in general of people and students especially using their mobile phones. It's a generation that's quite used to being on their phones all day, so it's such a captive audience in terms of communication. It's not as difficult. I don't think many students aren't used to other channels of communication. It's such an easy way to directly get messages to them, and that's why that user profile, where you send specific messages to specific groups, is probably one of the key features as well, especially in this time, if you need to get communication out to students about whether it's a new form of assessment, or when they can come back to campus, or what the new rules are around hygiene and COVID and screening and all of that. So it's probably one of the easiest tools to use for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, very, very powerful tool, and so easy to use, and it just takes all the headache out of managing an app as well, because it's just so simple and straightforward. You can also assign different roles to different people, so you can have different people logging onto the app management platform and only being able to do certain things. So you can delegate certain jobs to certain people as well, which is it's very useful also. So, okay, well, the message that comes through eventually, I would have liked to show you sort of live how it happened. That would have been pretty cool, but unfortunately now the technology gremlins didn't allow that. But I will show you. I'll show you over here. There we go. So there, I've opened my app, and there's my message. So if I click on there, it opens a message up. And now this is live from my phone, as I told you guys earlier. And there we go. So the title was just Modo Webinar. And this is a demo of an opt-in channel message that I sent earlier. So you can see how that looks. So it would have been cooler if it just sort of sent it live like it should have, but never mind. There you can see it actually did come through. And that's how easy it is. I mean, while I'm sitting here doing a presentation for you guys, I could send a message and it goes straight through to the user's devices.
And as you said, if you, for instance, have a LMS system or LMS at a university or a college, that you obviously can link directly through your app to that LMS as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, any system. Any system that's currently in use by the university. And of course, the LMS is the sort of the main thing, because that's what everybody uses and where all the course material is located and so forth. But that's an ideal example of something that you'll just plug in straight into the app. So any existing apps that you may have. And the funny thing with University of Pretoria was, once we started initially investigating the different departments and the type of information we'll start putting on the app, even before we started building it, we'll have departments saying to us, but we've got an app.
Yeah.
And people will be like, really? And like, yeah. And we actually realized, and I mean, I was working with very senior people, and they didn't even know that the university already had 4 or 5 existing apps, but separate, and no one actually knew about them. So what happened is, some of them we actually just incorporated into the, or I don't want to use the word incorporate because that's not what I'm looking for. Absorbed, that's the one. We absorbed it into the Modo app. So we actually canceled the existing apps, some of the existing apps that they have that wasn't really being used. And the library is one example. The library had its own app, and we canceled the subscription for that app, and we just built everything across onto the Modo platform under the library services section. And then some of the other existing apps which they wanted to keep, we just linked out to. So you can go onto the UP Modo app, and you can just click on the tile, and it'll automatically reroute you to the native app of, I know the Junior Tiki is one of them. Yeah.
And then technically, if for instance, I know that there's been all talk about the free data sites. So technically, if an LMS system is one of those free data sites, all the universities, the integrated links, then technically, if you go through the mobile app, once you reach that site, you're obviously on free data as well. So you're not eating all your data on the app the whole time.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that is also, again, a great example of what UP has actually done in practice. So they've zero rated like many of their essential sites that they use for the students. And we've actually linked that up into the app itself. So you can, through the app, link out to a zero rated site, so you're not using data for it.
I mean that's for many, that's one form of access is a smartphone or a tablet, not necessarily a computer. So that's quite ideal to actually have your app linked to everything as well, and you get access to that, and it's your free site. So that's great.
Yeah,
that's another challenge. Okay, awesome. See any other questions? So I think from my side, that's it. I don't know if anyone's got anything to add or to contribute. If that's it for now, then I'd like to thank you, G, for your time and your exciting presentation of this I won't say application, but it isn't, of this platform. And we will be sending out the recording to everyone to share with the colleagues if they should need to. And obviously, if there's any questions, they can also get in touch via email or reply to our emails. G, we can share your contact details in there as well if you're happy with that.
Sure.
They can contact you directly with any questions from there, should they, have anywhere afterwards. So with that, I would like to say thanks to everyone for attending. And yeah, we look forward to hosting you again soon. Thanks, G.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks, everybody. You have a great day, and hope to be in touch in future.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.